If I told you that the Eagles played the Raiders today and that Tanner McKee came in and finished the game, you'd probably thought that Jalen was benched, and he was. But it turned out to be a good type of benching because the Eagles blew the Raiders out by like 30 points. The Eagles defense held their offense and Kenny Pickett to about 76 total yards, I believe. Kenny Pickett averaged 2.2 yards per attempt. It was a truly dominant performance as the Eagles shut them out. Going into the game, I wanted them to continue to do some of the stuff they did on offense against the Chargers. And I know you're saying, why the hell would you want to do that? They played terribly. Well, even though Jalen turned the ball over 5 times, four of which through interceptions, one of which on a fumble against the Chargers last Monday night, I liked a lot of the stuff they did offensively, specifically targeting the middle of the field. And in order for them to take that next step and get out of this season-long rut they've been in, they've got to evolve and become a NFL-style offense and throw the ball over the middle of the field, and Jalen can either do it or he can't, and it's time to find out. But there's no more babying him because we can't just rely on dominating the trenches and winning with talent over scheme, pretty much. And then as the game got closer, you started to hear rumblings about how it was going to snow and it might be a blizzard game similar to the Rams game in the divisional round like last year, and it was going to be really windy. And I started to think, and probably a lot of other Eagles fans started to think, here we go again. This is going to be a bad Jalen game, just like the Chicago game where it was windy. And he's going to have 3 straight or 4 straight bad games, and he's not going to turn it around. But credit to him, he was pretty damn good. He was 12 out of 15. He took 1 sack, averaged about 11 yards per attempt. And he didn't do anything special. Granted, the Raiders are terrible, but I like 2 things. One is that they got the running game going, and I think everybody kind of overreacts. I mean, yes, the running game helps the passing game, but really, there's a ton of stuff they could do better schematically in the passing game without Jalen Hurts running the ball. But needless to say, he ran the ball himself on a bunch of QB keeps. And I think you're going to see that as the playoffs approach because he's willing to put his health on the line as the playoffs come closer. But I don't blame him for not. I talked about this before. I don't blame him for not wanting to put his health on the line and take hits. You know, people can make a big deal out of it and say he's selfish or whatever. That's really not what frustrates me. But back to the point. I like that they incorporated that, and I like he's good at QB draws and QB zone reads up the middle. When he has to go side to side, I've been saying this for 5 years, he's not good. One, because he's not that fast. He doesn't have that lateral quickness like a Lamar Jackson or even like a Kyler Murray or any of those quarterbacks. And two, when he sees a defender starts to come up, he'll often kind of just awkwardly slow down and turtle up. And he even did that today. And it almost led to an injury. He kind of rolled his ankle a little bit weird. I'd rather him just run out of bounds for like a 1 yard gain there. Just run hard out of bounds instead of turtling and falling down and potentially taking a bad hit. But that's the one thing I liked on offense. And then the second thing I liked was the throw to AJ Brown over the middle. The post or the seam, whatever you want to call it, to pretty much put the game away at that point in the third quarter. Obviously, I would have liked to see them do more play action shots over the middle, but in a game like this where you just don't want to put the ball at risk, the Raiders weren't moving the ball at all. You didn't want to throw many risky throws. So, but it was good to see that throw to continue to put the pressure on him to throw over the middle to prove that he can throw over the middle because he can. It's just a matter of how efficiently he can do it and in specific situations. But obviously, he was good. He was great, even. He only took 1 sack, didn't turn the ball over, didn't put the ball in harm's way. And the Raiders are truly terrible. So, are the Eagles suddenly good now? Did they figure stuff out? I don't think so. I mean, the offense looked better, but there wasn't anything really new to it. They were able to run the ball with Jalen and Saquon. Saquon had a great game. It's funny. We talk about all this stuff like what is Jalen's fault? What is the offense? Well, we got to see Tanner McKee come into the game, and it turns out that one of the things we've been talking about is they get to the line too late. They snap the ball too late. Is that a Jalen thing or is that an offensive coordinator thing? Well, Tanner McKee came into the game, and not only did they weren't even able to get the snap off, they had to call a timeout. So it was even worse with him in the game in terms of letting the clock roll down. So that's definitely an offensive coordinator and a head coach thing, which, again, these issues are not binary. A lot of these issues are both their faults, and they both need to be better as the season winds down. But needless to say, it was a good day for the Eagles. Not only did they win, but the Cowboys lost to the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy. So basically, the Eagles only need one win the rest of the way. They play the Commanders twice, and sandwiched in between those two games is a game against the Bills. So even if they lose to the Bills on the road, which would be a tough game, all they have to do is win one more game against the Commanders. So you hope they couldn't possibly screw that up. So all in all, it was a good week for the Eagles. They still have a lot of work to do to be, a team that can be considered to win a Super Bowl, but it was a step in the right direction. At least I can relax this week and not be disgusted at the thought of football. So that's my thoughts on the game. Let me know what you guys thought of the game. Give me a like, comment, subscribe. The Washington game is on Saturday. I hate the scheduling this time of the year for the NFL and as Christmas approaches, but it's Saturday. So a few days off to enjoy this win, and then we'll look ahead to the Washington game. But for now, that's it, and I will see you guys next time.